Back in January, I set off to drive the entire coast of mainland Scotland while living in my van. And this part of the journey continues pushing further west along the Moray Coast, edging ever closer to Inverness and the Highlands. From seaside saunas and cold water dips to ancient ruins, military forts, incredible beaches, ancient monuments and everyday life on the road, including a break in the middle of filming this episode. This part of the journey filled me with both happiness and sadness in equal measure, as I say goodbye to this magnificent part of Scotland's coast. Well, good morning folks. This has been some trip so far, I must admit, along the Moray Coast as I continue my drive around the entire coast of mainland Scotland. And I left you off last week parked at Lossiemouth, where the RAF base is. The weather has turned completely. It looks like it's going to turn and be a bit sort of inconsistent, certainly for the next 3 or 4 days anyway. It's been raining during the night here. I can see all the rain on my window, and I heard it early on this morning. It's due to continue to rain on and off pretty much all day for the next few days, like I say. But I'm really excited about what's coming up, because we're going to be heading just along that last stretch of the Moray Coast to Inverness, certainly anyway, this side of the river, over the next sort of couple of days. So I'm really looking forward to it. And as you can see, I've got my dry robe on, which in these episodes can mean only one thing. I'm going for a seaside sauna at the firehouse at Hopeman Beach to meet its owners, Joe and Malcolm. Let's go! Oh, look at that. Look at that. What a view. So everyone, I did say I was coming for a morning sauna session here at Hopeman Beach, and I'm joined by Joe and Malcolm, the owners here at Firehouse Sauna. Or is it Firehouse Sauna? How do you actually say it?
Well, it's actually Firehouse.
Firehouse?
Yes.
And where does it come from then?
It comes from, it's sort of a Nordic name. We searched and searched for a name that we wanted to link with the sort of ancient history of this area, and the Vikings and the Picts roamed here, between the 8th and the 9th and the 12th centuries. And so it sort of comes from Scandinavia. The longhouses were their traditional houses. And it was the area where they sat and they talked, and they cooked and they healed and they told their sagas. And it was obviously around the fire.
Yeah.
So, so I think it was probably like a communal kitchen living room that we would have today. And you know, the Vikings were very clean people, contrary to what everybody believes, and they like to keep themselves clean and
they made saunas and absolutely.
It does go back hundreds of years. I mean, it's only in recent times that people have had bathrooms and things at home. You know, it's 100 years ago or 500 years ago or whatever. That was a form of keeping clean, really, is sweating it out. You know, so it's not really a new tradition, really. You know, it's been the goes in millennia. They've had stone huts and fires on them, and so they get build up a sweat and get themselves clean. And you do notice that nowadays in the sort of modern one. You do feel clean actually for probably a couple of days after you've had a decent session in a sauna. You know, to rinse everything out of you.
Yeah, especially when you have a cold dip as well.
Well,
wash it away.
wash all the dead bits off you.
Exactly.
Dolphins right in here. I've been a couple of times, yeah, first time we realised the tide, maybe with the tide in a wee bit further, but the dolphins are right here, you know. Oh, the big bottle nose. We've had a couple of times though. I'm going in. Go for it. Whoa! Whoa! Swimming. Beautiful.
It's gorgeous. Oh, let's be settled now.
Yeah.
Heart rate's
Is the
coming.
van staying in the car park for the night, is it?
I wish I've got to move on.
Aye.
Gutted.
Yeah.
It's a stunning place.
Nice. Well, you know,
You're in here every single morning then?
well, from Thursday to Sunday.
Thursday to Sunday,
I'd like to be Monday to Wednesday as well. I'm not down here. It's just a bit of a pain trying to get down here for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, but every morning I.
Brilliant.
Some of the worst mornings I've came down and I thought, it's don't really fancy it today. It's windy and it's raining and everything. By the time I've got the fire going, like, no, I've got to go.
The thing is, you've always got that,
just
that
a
comfort
big-
blanket of knowing you're going to
Absolutely,
get warm again in the
I think
sauna.
we've
You know?
spoiled quite a lot of wild swimmers because they now they won't go in unless they've got a sauna to come back into, you know.
Yeah.
But they used to just stand and shiver on the beach for
Yeah.
half an hour before they get warm again.
Yeah.
Well, the sauna industry in the whole
it's just
growing.
the benefits of a sauna, you know, and having a
Yeah.
cold dip. I mean, they're well documented.
Yeah,
They really are.
Malcolm
They are, yeah. I mean, the health benefits. I mean, if you sort of read statistics, and everybody else sort of try and counteract it or whatever, you know, so you leave lots of reports. But I think, I mean, in the majority of them, they say that saunaing 3 or 4 times a week can reduce your chances of heart disease and stroke by about 60%. You know, it's
Yeah.
absolutely incredible. You know, and
More.
so I say getting both things, the heat is what it does to your body, you know, and then getting the cold as well for taking swelling out of joints and things. You know,
Yeah.
the people that come here after they've run marathons or whatever, and they just say absolute tonic, you know, they leave here honestly feeling a new person, you know. It's just
that's good.
amazing,
And for me as well, like I've talked about this in previous episodes, I suffered from major depressive disorder when in my late 20s, early to mid 30s, slightly later, so a number of years, and it was a really, really horrific time. And I use these saunas and the cold dips even now to this day. You know, if I'm having a bit of a lull in the van, you know yourself. You've had vans. Vans a very small space when you're living in it. If I'm having a bit of a lull for a couple of days, I'll go and seek out a sauna or seek out a cold dip one.
It's not just-
It really helps.
It's not just the sort of physical stuff of having the hot and cold therapy, as we call it,
Yeah.
contrast therapy. It's actually the social side is so
Correct.
fantastic for
Yeah.
people who perhaps are on their own and feeling a little bit shit like you were, and coming in and meeting other people, talking to other people. Like, you know, we've also got several sort of collaborations with yoga teachers. And they bring them along and they have a lovely relaxing time. And also Mum's Day, which is an organisation in Elgin, they're starting to have a collaboration with us and she's wilderness retreats, and she particularly helps people with mental health and social problems and carers. She works with carers, and so we're starting all that sort of collaboration with her.
Brilliant.
And helping her a little bit.
Great stuff.
But I mean our own mental health as well. I mean, you swim every morning, don't you? And
I was just saying that, yeah.
Just don't come up from the beach. Swum 4 mornings a week for the since maybe not July, but once the sauna was up and going, and once I was organised to get this set up in the morning. So certainly since August time,
and you had
right through the winter.
Fasciitis, didn't you? In your heel, and you swear it's
horrendous pains and
I've got quite bad carpal tunnel in both my wrists and cubital tunnel in my elbows, which is a bit of a nightmare. But I do find it helps massively with that. Even like I'm getting less because I'm exposing myself, especially the cold water aspect of it as well. I'm exposing myself to that, and I think it takes the inflammation down. You know, and where the nerves pass through it. Because it has definitely helped. I rarely wake up during the night now with my hands sort of curled in and having the pins and needles and everything through them.
Well, I had
never happens now.
exactly that same thing as well. I mean, I was through menopause as well, and that you get carpal tunnel with that. But since this, it's just disappeared. It's just disappeared. So I couldn't even ride a bike for 5 minutes without having to stop and shake my hands.
It's a shame because people think you're sort of just trying to sell the sauna to them, you know. people who walk past and say it really does help you.
I know, that's the
aches and
thing.
pains and things like that. You know,
I mean, look at the Nordic countries as well. They've been doing it how many years? Thousands of years.
Yeah.
You look at the Nordic countries now, and you look at all the statistics about, you know, in Finland, happiest, you know, meant to be the happiest country in the world, healthy people, all the rest of it, and everyone owns a sauna pretty much in Finland, don't they?
Yeah.
Right, well, that is the best way to start your day. It really was. Thank you so much for having me. Joe's had to nip off. I said my goodbyes off camera to her there, but honestly, thank you so much for having me.
Glad you were able to make it with us in the morning.
Oh, no,
it's such a lovely morning.
Yeah, exactly. It was such a great day. Yeah. But I did have a question that I forgot to ask when I was in there. Obviously, this is quite a sort of small, close-knit community and that, but how have they responded to, you know, obviously the sauna being here and stuff?
We'd just like to sort of thank the village, obviously, the association for the access to here, the car parks and amenities, and also to the landowner who owns this land for letting us use this sauna to provide such a great amenity for the village, you know? And there's lots of the village. I mean, although there is lots of outsiders come to visit, it's great for the village because they, you know, it's like yourself, you know, they just find out what a stunning beach it is, a stunning location. But also that the amount of people I do meet who say they can't believe that Hopeman has got a facility like this, you know. They don't have to travel anywhere for it, you know.
Well, that's it. I mean, even just off camera speaking to Joe earlier, there's been multiple people out walking the dogs that are regular users of it that live here locally as well.
Chats. It is a bit of a social hub here. I know the sauna's a social hub, but it's also a social hub here because everybody walking their dog, we're obviously on the Moray Coastal path here as well, you know, so this is the actual Moray Coast walking route passing here. So it is an extremely busy path, you know. Yeah. And as I say, everybody love it. They just come for a chat and the dogs stop by and people just gather.
I know, and it's such a beautiful beach. I've never been here before, so I didn't really know what to expect. Like I'm deliberately, I know where my stops are for this series, but I'm deliberately not looking too much into them before I get there, just so I can try and remain that wonder, you know, for myself really, more than anything, even historical sites, and I'll do my reading up after. Well, listen, I can't shake your hand. I'm holding this,
this lovely bottle.
I know, and thank you so much for that. It's a bottle by Jarvey, and it's a sauna bottle. I'd never actually heard of one before, but it'll keep your water really cool when you're in there, but it'll also not burn your lips when you go to actually take a drink out of it.
And it is vitally important to drink lots of water.
Oh yeah.
Before and during a sauna session. I mean, if you could drink a bottle full of water in the hour leading up to the sauna, it makes such a difference. It does stop you getting overheating and
absolutely. But no, it worked great, and thank you so much for that. Honestly, you're too kind.
It's a pleasure.
Well, that was absolutely amazing. Hopeman is beautiful. Honestly, I can't believe how nice this beach is. And look at these wee beach huts that are just right here. Look at that. They're all the way along. There's a big, huge row of them. Absolutely gorgeous. I bet you so many of these are just, they've been in the same family for generations, I bet. Absolutely stunning. What a lovely, lovely place. Well, I've got to leave Hopeman, and I'm actually quite sad. It's a beautiful wee place. I'm definitely coming back here another time to stay for longer. I mean, it was just the best way to start my day. It really was. Joe and Malcolm were lovely, and thank you very much for hosting that session with me. It was just what I needed. It was a right good refresh. The cold dip was excellent. It wasn't actually as cold as I expected it to be, so it was really nice. That's my first experience, actually, of having a dip in the Moray Firth. So I'm pleasantly surprised. Could you imagine in the summer what it would be like to have dolphins coming up to you? Big bottlenose dolphins coming up, swimming near you and stuff. Oh, it would be absolutely outrageous. But what a great experience. Thank you so much to you both. It was fantastic, and best of luck, you know, with your first full season ahead. But there's two historical sites that I really want to check out as I continue along my journey to Findhorn Beach. And the first of those two is Duffus Castle. driving up towards Duffus Castle, it's hard not to notice just how unusual the landscape looks and feels around it. Long before the stone ruins you see today stood here, this was originally a moat and bailey fortress built in the 12th century, one of the earliest types of castles introduced to Scotland during the medieval period. At the centre was a wooden keep built on top of a huge artificial earth mound, surrounded by defensive ditches and timber palisades. But in the 1300s, that earlier fortress was replaced by the stone castle, whose remains still stand here today. For more than 500 years, Duffus served both as a fortress and a residence, overlooking this part of Moray during centuries of conflict. At one point it was considered one of the strongest castles in Scotland, but the ground beneath it would eventually become part of its downfall. Over time, the weight of the stone structure caused sections of the earth mound to shift and collapse. By the early 1700s, the castle had been abandoned, gradually falling into ruin. And now, all these centuries later, Duffus Castle still stands as a reminder of Scotland's transition from timber fortresses to the great stone castles we're all so familiar with. Hello, how you doing? Can I get a wee latte in there, please? Thanks very much. Oh, look at that rocky road. Oh my god. Oh, that was dead nice. A little sort of mini cafe on site. There's plenty of like seating outside. I got myself a latte, but look at this rocky road. Look at that. Big chunky monkey. Honestly, oh, I can't wait to eat that. I'm going to save it for later. But yeah, it's really nice. I'm going to try this latte. I do like, when I'm making coffee for myself in the van, I just have it black. But when I get a coffee out of somewhere, I tend to get a latte or a cappuccino. I don't know why that is. Well, that's nice. Right now, I'm going to head to the next really historical, this is an ancient place really, because we're going to be going to the Burghead Pictish Fort in Well. So this is Burghead, and this is just such a lovely park up here right along the front. You can actually park overnight here if you're in a camper van or a motorhome as well. You use the pay by phone app and it's like £7 for the night. Absolutely superb. I think it goes on from 6 o'clock at night until 10 o'clock in the morning. There's quite a few spaces as well, but just look at this next to me. Look at the colour of that water. And our old friends made an appearance again today, which is just fantastic. Although it is a little bit intermittent. I'm getting a bit of everything today. Sun, clouds, rain, everything. But right now, I'm going to head to the place that I came here for at the Burghead Pictish Fort. And the visitor centre, I believe at this time of year, opens at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. So I wanted to just give myself a little bit of time to get here then, because when you get to the visitor centre you can pick up a key to go inside the Burghead well, and that's what I intend to do. Let's go on a wee adventure. Now this is Burghead, a town surrounded by the sea on 3 sides, looking out across the beautiful Moray Firth. Today it's a quiet coastal community and working harbour, but this headland has been important for well over 1,000 years. The modern town itself was largely built in the early 1800s, during a period of expansion connected to fishing, trade and the growing herring industry along Scotland's northeast coast. But long before that, this was one of the most important Pictish strongholds ever discovered in Scotland. Built around the 4th century AD, the Burghead Pictish Fort was enormous. Archaeologists believe it was around 3 times larger than any other known Pictish fort in Scotland, with defensive walls so vast that some experts believe the site may have been unique in Europe. The walls themselves were extraordinary, thick enough to rival the width of the town's modern main street. From this position, the Picts could watch both land and sea approaches from across the Moray Firth, controlling trade, movement and territory from the strategic headland. Inside the visitor centre, reconstructions help show just how impressive this settlement once was. A place of homes, workshops, livestock and everyday life, all protected behind huge stone defences. Nearly 30 carved bullstones were once discovered here around the fort and harbour. The bull was believed to represent strength and power, a symbol of the people who lived here. Sadly, many of the original stones were lost or destroyed over the centuries as the modern town expanded across the headland, with examples now kept at the Elgin Museum, the National Museum of Scotland in Edinburgh, and the British Museum in London. And while Burghead's ancient past is remarkable, the sea would continue shaping life here for centuries afterwards, when fishing became the heartbeat of the town, particularly during the herring boom years. The Broch salmon fishers became a well-known part of that story, working these waters generation after generation along the Moray Firth. And alongside the fishermen came the herring lassies, often known as the silver darlings or the fisher queens, young women who travelled from port to port, following the herring fleets around Britain, gutting, salting and packing fish at incredible speed. Many lived in basic wooden huts near the harbours, working long, exhausting days in brutal conditions, but they became a hugely important part of coastal life here in Burghead and across the whole northeast of Scotland. But Burghead is perhaps most famous for a tradition unlike anything else in Scotland, the burning of the clavvy. Believed to have roots in ancient pagan fire rituals, the ceremony marks Burghead's Old New Year celebrations. And when Britain adopted the Gregorian calendar in 1752, the people of Burghead refused to abandon the old date, continuing to celebrate on the 11th of January instead, to honour the Julian calendar, named after Julius Caesar. Introduced in 46 BC, Caesar's calendar became the dominant calendar across the Roman Empire and much of the Western world for more than 1600 years. And here at Burghead, every year, that tradition still continues. A flaming barrel filled with tar, wood staves, and fuel is carried through the streets by the clavvy crew, led by the hereditary clavvy king. The procession moves clockwise through the town before climbing Doory Hill overlooking the harbour. There, the clavvy is placed upon a stone altar and packed with fresh fuel, burning high above Burghead until the barrel finally collapses in on itself. And even then, the ritual isn't over. People gather the charred remains for good luck, using pieces to light their own fires, or placing fragments in homes and businesses for good luck in the year ahead. Pieces of the clavvy are even sent to former Burghead residents, known as brochers, living around the world. It's a centuries-old tradition, still burning brightly here on the Moray Coast. And hidden beneath the streets of Burghead lies one of the town's greatest mysteries, the Burghead Well. It was discovered during the early 1800s during construction work on the town, buried deep beneath the remains of the old fort. Stone steps descend underground into a chamber fed by a natural spring, but archaeologists still debate exactly what it was used for. Some believe it may have been an ancient Pictish ceremonial bath or sacred shrine connected to rituals and religious practice. Others think it could simply have been an important protected water source within the fort itself. But what makes it so fascinating is just how unusual it is. Very few sites like this survive anywhere in Scotland, and even now, centuries later, much about it remains unknown. It's a rare glimpse into an ancient world we still don't fully understand. And looking down on Burghead today, it's hard to imagine the scale of what once stood here. Much of the original Pictish fort was lost during the construction of the modern town in the 1800s, before archaeologists fully understood its importance. So what survives now is only part of the story, but even so, Burghead remains one of the most significant Pictish sites ever discovered in Scotland, a place where ancient power, coastal life, fishing traditions, and centuries of history all meet on the edge of the Moray Firth. And even today, with boats still leaving the harbour, the connection between Burghead and the sea continues. Now that is really, really cool. You can hear, don't know if you can hear that, the echo. It can be quite slippy on these steps. There's a rope for you to hold on to here. Echo! I'm not going to lie, it is pretty eerie. Very, very cool. But I'm going to hand the key back to Bill at the visitor centre, who's a lovely, lovely man, by the way. There's a lot more in that visitor centre than I realised. And yeah, it's been a great stop. I'm glad I made it. I would definitely love to come here for the clavvy. I don't think I'm going to be able to with this road trip in January, but it would be a sight to behold, certainly. I'd love to do it one year, that's for sure. I'm going to hand my keys back to Bill and then head a little bit further along the coast, and that's where I'm going to settle in for the night as well, at the beautiful Findhorn. Now, I just knew when I was driving into Findhorn for the first time that this place was going to be special. And for us living in vans or touring the country in motorhomes and camper vans, it's an ideal location on the Moray Coast with this beautiful air by the beach. And when I say beautiful, I really do mean it. Just check this out. Hey folks, good morning. It is a lovely day outside, it really is. And I had a full day of filming planned for today, but I'm going to have to change them, unfortunately. I'm going to have to drive back down the road. I was going to be leaving tomorrow anyway, because I've got my group adventures on the Isle of Arran this weekend. And then after that, shortly after that, I've got a golf trip to Spain with friends from school. But I need to go down the road today. There's things I need to do before all of that happens. So this episode's I'm gonna have to take a wee break here, unfortunately, and come back after I've been to Arran and after I've been to Spain. So I'll see you then. Well, I'm back from Spain, but I've not quite made it back up to Findhorn as yet. When I was in Spain, I was contacted by Judith, the owner of the Elie Seaside Sauna. And if you remember on one of my earlier episodes in this series, I travelled along the East Neuk of Fife and I kicked off that episode at the Elie Seaside Sauna. Well, Judith now has a brand new sauna, the Harbour Master, and it offers a truly unique experience. This isn't like a normal sauna session. It's called Aufgas and Lithuanian leaf whisking. And joining me is a friend of mine, you may well recognise Chris Paul Lawler, otherwise known as the Did You Know That in Scotland guy. Then I'm going to head back up to Findhorn and carry on with this road trip. Alfgus is a traditional sauna ritual that combines heat, scent and movement to create a much more immersive experience. Ice infused with essential oils is placed onto the hot stones before the sauna master uses towel techniques to circulate the rising heat and aromas around the room. It's intense but incredibly relaxing at the same time. But Judith wasn't stopping there, because next up came the Lithuanian leaf whisking, using branches and leaves gathered locally that very morning here in Elie. The leaves are brushed and pressed against the body in rhythmic movements, almost like a mix between massage, circulation therapy and an exfoliation. And to finish, a salt scrub infused with local gorse flowers before taking an extremely cold shower.
Oh, you fucking hell! That's it's freezing. It's cold, isn't it? Oh. Oh my god! Jesus Christ, Jeff!
Oh, it's freezing.
Oh, that's lovely.
You deserve an orange.
Oh, wee blood orange. Lovely.
Have you seen that thing they do?
The bar,
The bar.
Orkney and Lerwick.
See, I'd love to do a video on that, but I don't like filming people, and it's like you don't want to.
It looks like total madness when it
Yeah.
kicks off.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't survive that.
Right, but it's like the uppies versus the doonies.
Right.
That's what it is, isn't it?
Right.
Up, so you're either an uppie or a doonie in Lerwick.
You going?
Right, why not? Why not? What about you?
Aye.
Can I go for it?
Might as well.
Right, I think we're good.
Aye.
Well, good morning everyone. I'm finally back up in Findhorn, ready to continue this journey. It's such a beautiful park up this, and the weather today is absolutely glorious. Well, I say glorious, you're getting lovely sunshine, and then there's a bit of cloud, and then there's a bit of rain, and then glorious sunshine. But it's nice and bright. The water out there looks absolutely incredible. And I just wanted to say a huge big thank you as well to everyone that's subscribed recently, for all the likes, the comments, the shares of these videos. Everything ultimately helps me grow my channel. And a special thanks to those of you that had bought me a Guinness in recent weeks. You will have maybe seen on social media that I did finally decide to take your advice, and I got myself a Starlink. So all those Buy Me a Guinness contributions gone towards buying that Starlink, and will go towards my monthly costs. I think it's £100 a month for the Starlink service, unlimited, which is what I need. And it just means I'm not going to have the bother that I had when I was at Cruden Bay in an earlier episode, where I had plenty of download speed using my little router and my SIM card, but I just didn't have the upload speed to upload 4K hour-long videos to YouTube. It would have taken literally 3 days. And as always, any contributions on that Buy Me a Guinness page will always go back into the creation of this content for you all to enjoy. So thank you so much for doing that. And if you're watching this for the first time and you enjoy what you see, please remember to hit the subscribe button below. I believe 40% of my viewers every single week haven't actually subscribed to my channel. So if you're one of those, please hit the subscribe button. It'll really help me out. Cheers. I'm really looking forward to this part of the journey as I finish off this part of the Moray Coast and end up in one of my favourite cities in Scotland, Inverness. Now there's quite a few things I want to go and see as I make my way there. And first off, we're going to be heading to a beautiful little town called Forres, and there's two things there that I have to show you. Standing here in Forres is one of the most remarkable ancient monuments anywhere in Scotland, Sweno's Stone. Towering at over 6 metres tall, it's the largest surviving Pictish symbol stone in the country and one of the most important pieces of early medieval sculptures in Europe. Carved from a single slab of sandstone, the stone is believed to date from around the 9th or 10th century, during the final centuries of the Pictish kingdoms. And what makes it so extraordinary is the level of detail still visible after more than 1,000 years. One side is covered in intricate interlacing carvings and a large Celtic cross, which shows the growing influence of Christianity among the Picts during this period. But it's the opposite side that draws the most attention. Carved into the stone here is an enormous battle scene, warriors fighting on horseback and on foot with defeated enemies shown piled beneath them. Some historians believe it may depict a major Pictish victory, possibly over Viking raiders or rival forces from the north. Others think it could commemorate a special battle linked with the unification of the Pictish territories, but the truth is, nobody knows for certain. And that mystery is part of what makes Sweno's Stone so fascinating. Even the name itself is uncertain. The stone is traditionally linked to Sweno or Svein Forkbeard, a Viking king of Denmark, but there's no evidence to suggest he was ever connected to this site. The name likely emerged centuries later through local folklore and legend. Today the stone is protected within this glass structure to shield it from the weather, preserving one of the greatest surviving reminders of Scotland's Pictish past. A monument carved over 1,000 years ago that still leaves historians debating its story today. Now, one of the most remarkable things about this stone, when you see it with your own eyes, is the sheer scale of it. It is huge. I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. And just look at the height of that. It is awe-inspiring. And the first time I came here was a good few years ago now, when I first got the van and saw it for the first time. It blew me away then, and every time I've been since, including right now, it's blown me away again. How did they do it? Mind-boggling. And here in Forres, another stone linked to Scotland's past is hidden within its streets, just a short walk from Sweno's Stone itself. Known as the Witch's Stone, this ancient boulder is tied to one of the darker chapters in Scottish history. The inscription beside the stone tells us how accused witches were once rolled down from Cluny Hill inside stout barrels driven through with spikes, and according to the story, where the barrels finally came to a stop, they were set alight with their mangled bodies inside. And this stone is said to mark the site of one such execution. It's a grim reminder of the fear, superstition and brutality that swept through Scotland during the witch trials of the 16th and 17th centuries. Now, next up en route to Inverness, I'm going to drive through Forres just now and go to a place called Nairn. The beach at Nairn is absolutely glorious, and if I can get a little break in the cloud with this sun, I'm going to throw my drone up in the air and let you see it. So that's my next stop, Nairn Beach. This is Nairn, a seaside town known for its long sandy beaches, coastal walks and surprisingly mild climate compared to much of northern Scotland. Originally a small fishing and market town, Nairn grew rapidly during the Victorian era, becoming a popular holiday destination as visitors arrived by rail to experience the fresh sea air and beaches along the Moray Firth. And even today, that traditional seaside character still feels very much part of the town. From the promenade and harbour to the wide open beach stretching along the coastline, Nairn has a much calmer feel compared to some of the more rugged parts of the journey further east. But beneath the relaxed atmosphere, there's still a strong connection to the sea and fishing industry that helped shape places like this for generations. Nairn is a place where seaside tourism, coastal life and Highland scenery all begin to come together as the journey edges ever closer to the capital of the Highlands, Inverness. But before I go and get parked up in the city, there's one more place I need to check out en route: Fort George. Now, what is Fort George, you might ask? Well, it's one of the largest and best preserved artillery fortifications anywhere in Europe. And despite looking centuries old, this fortress was actually built as a direct response to one of the most important turning points in Scottish history, the Jacobite Rising of 1745. After Bonnie Prince Charlie and the Jacobite army were defeated at the Battle of Culloden in 1746, the British government wanted complete military control of the Highlands, determined to prevent any future uprising from happening again. And so construction began here in 1748. What followed was a military project on an enormous scale. Thousands of labourers and soldiers worked on the site over the next 22 years, not just to defend this coastline, but to project British military power deep into the Highlands themselves. The final cost was staggering for the time, making it one of the most expensive fortifications ever built in Britain. Every part of Fort George was designed with defence in mind. The angled ramparts, the deep defensive ditches, and thick stone walls and artillery positions, all carefully planned to make the fort almost impossible to attack directly. Cannons lined the walls overlooking the Moray Firth, giving clear views across the water towards places like Channery Point and beyond. And unlike many older castles and forts in Scotland, Fort George was built specifically to withstand modern artillery warfare of the 18th century. It wasn't medieval. This was military engineering on an entirely different level. But Fort George wasn't just a defensive structure. It was built to function as a fully operational military town. Inside the walls are barracks, office quarters, workshops, magazines, stables, kitchens, a chapel and storehouses. Everything needed to house and support hundreds of soldiers for a long period of time. And one of the most important buildings inside the fort was the Grand Magazine. This heavily protected structure was used to store gunpowder and ammunition, the lifeblood of any artillery fortress. Everything here revolved around discipline, precision and military readiness. Today, Fort George is also home to the Highlanders Museum, which tells the story of the Highland regiments that served across the British Army for generations. Inside are weapons, uniforms, medals, personal belongings and battlefield artefacts, covering conflicts from the 18th century right through to modern warfare. And beyond the military history itself, the museum also explores the lives of the soldiers behind it all, where they came from, how they lived, and the realities of serving within the Highland regiments over centuries of conflict. And unlike many historic sites, Fort George isn't just a museum, it remains an active military barracks to this day, still used by the British Army more than 250 years after construction first began. And perhaps for me the most remarkable part of Fort George's story is despite that being built to suppress rebellion and withstand attack, it was never actually used in battle, not once. The fortress was completed after the Jacobite threat had already collapsed, meaning this enormous military stronghold never fired a shot in anger. Yet somehow that almost adds to the atmosphere of the place, because Fort George doesn't just feel like a ruined battlefield or a castle shaped by centuries of destruction. It's intact, preserved, almost exactly as the military engineers intended it to look in the 18th century. Well, that was just awesome. I haven't been in such a long time. You do forget how big this place is. Please, if you come here, give yourself plenty of time to walk around it. It's not just that one part, the museum. There's just so much here to see, and it is big. You know, you've got to walk it. But honestly, for people that come to Inverness or around that sort of area, don't miss this place out. It's honestly brilliant. A lot of people come here and they want to go and see the castles and things like that. And you know me. If you've been watching my content for a while, you know I love a castle, especially a ruin like our Kirk Castle, which is near Inverness. Of course, just sitting on the banks of Loch Ness. But come to this place. Honestly, it's such a unique experience, especially with it being pretty much like an active military base, if you like, as well. You know, it's historical, plus it's got that element of it too, and the staff are super friendly. Honestly, they welcomed me with open arms here. Thank you very much to Historic Environment Scotland for, allowing me to film here. You do need to get permission before doing so. And the staff were just so great. It was brilliant to meet them all. So thanks very much for making my experience just that little bit more enjoyable. It was greatly appreciated, and I'll definitely be back. But moving on, I am going to stick with my current plan of heading to Inverness now, and that's where the episode will end. However, Inverness is one of my favourite cities in Scotland, and there's just so much to cover in Inverness, around Inverness, in the surrounding areas and stuff like that. I reckon I'm going to get at least 2 episodes. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Inverness as a little base for the next 5 or 6 days to film. And there is a place between here and Inverness as well that I cannot miss out on either. Very historical, ancient place. Again, more stones, and you'll probably know what I'm talking about if you've explored this area yourself. The cairns. And so I can't drive past all these things and not cover them in this road trip. They're places I've never been to before. And it'll be a really good insight actually for people that are maybe coming to Scotland and making Inverness their base, and the things you can kind of do over the next couple of episodes in and around the kind of Inverness area. There's just so much to cover. And I love Inverness, so I'm really looking forward to it. But that's my next plan. I'm going to head into Inverness now, and that's where we're going to end the episode. So, onward we go. Well, that's me parked up in Inverness, folks. And I've parked up at a place called Torvain Car Park, I think is how you say it, Torvain. There's actually a caravan site just across the road. But this is just a council car park. It costs like a tenner, I think it's a tenner a night. And it's an invitation to pay. But please, if you stay in these type of car parks, the Highland Council offer a lot of car parks like this, and it's a similar deal where they're inviting you to pay. It's not absolutely necessary. No one's going to come and give you a ticket for not paying, but please pay, because places like this are few and far between. across the whole country, like for the councils to be able to offer these places and actually not force payment, if you like. It's 1 in a million, and the Highland Council are actually really good at it. That's basically in the Highlands now. I'm in Inverness, so please do pay if you do stay in car parks like this in the sort of Highland Council jurisdiction. I'm going to enjoy these smokies. Like I said earlier, I just like to pick away at them and get in between all the bones and stuff like that. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed it, please remember to like, leave a comment, and if you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. It would mean a lot to me. And of course, if you've figured out how to hype these videos underneath on your mobile phone, please do hype it as well. Be greatly appreciated. But have a great week, and I'll see you next Sunday. Thanks very much again. Like and subscribe for more van life adventures.